Hello everyone, my name is Karen Johnson, but y'all know me as Whoopi Goldberg. I'm an actress, comedian, writer, producer, and TV host. Throughout my professional career, I was awarded with 4 major film and media awards: Oscar, Emmy, Grammy, and Tony. I've also been awarded with Golden Globe twice, and I got a BAFTA award, and I also got my own star in the Walk of Fame to add to my award collection. To add up on this, I have millions of fans around the world, and they have enjoyed watching all of my movies, and they love them. But today I want to tell you a different story. I want to tell you a story of how I worked in the morgue in my earlier days, when I was young and not yet famous. Some of you would say, "This is impossible. How can it be? Whoopi Goldberg herself worked in the morgue?" But this is all true. Many of us celebrities started our life from the basics, and yes, I was one of them too. When I was young, I dreamed of becoming an actress. At that time, it was not so easy for people of color to succeed in the film industry. I was coming to auditions and doing my best, but they all just ignored me. I had a very unusual appearance, and I would not get any offer and role to play. But I was very focused. I believed in my talent, and I always knew that my time will come. So while I was pursuing my way to the film industry, I still had to take care of myself and make a living. I had quite a few odd jobs then. I worked as a night security officer, I worked at construction sites, as a phone operator assistant, and at many other positions. But my worst experience was working in the morgue. I did professional makeup and hairstyling for the dead people. I still remember it with horror. I found this job ad in the newspaper, and since then, I realized that I'm a licensed cosmetologist, and I attended a cosmetology and beauty school. I had the required skills, and I immediately applied for this position. This job was not easy, and certainly not for everyone. You have to be very special. You must really love people to make them look good to say goodbye to this world. And my boss was exactly that type of a person. Plus, he had an excellent sense of humor. Once he played a prank on me, and I will never forget it. It was a new hire back then, but I think I'm not the first one who he played his prank on. It all happened when my boss called me and asked me to go down to the mortuary room where all the bodies are kept before the funeral. He said he wanted to talk to me. In the earlier days, these rooms had massive, thick wooden doors. The room was very cold, and there were many wooden drawers around. I came there immediately, but my boss wasn't there. I sat down and waited, and suddenly I heard a strange sound, a creak and a scratching. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, but when it repeated, I felt uncomfortable. This is not the sound you would expect in a place like this. I looked around, and suddenly I noticed one of these drawers was slowly sliding out. I froze in horror. I got all these terrifying images of zombies and monsters jumping out of the box to attack and kill me. And then the open box came out. I saw my boss. He said hello, as if nothing happened. I jumped and rushed out of the doorroom like crazy. I did not realize it was just a prank, and then, with all my might, I crashed into the closed door and fainted. When I came back to my senses, I had a big lump on my forehead, and I saw my boss standing in front of me. He said, "The worst thing that you could have imagined has just happened to you now. It already happened. Do you still want to work here?" Of course, I wanted to work there because I needed money. After that, I never felt uncomfortable working at a funeral mortuary, even if I was all alone. Now I'm telling you the story and I laugh, but back then I was not laughing. I thought I would have a heart attack. So, after this story, I would never get afraid of the dead people again. I would fully dedicate myself to my work. You know, I'm such a person, when I do my work, I totally dedicate myself to it. I made dead people look beautiful every day of my job, and each time I did it better and better. But my work at the morgue was just a stepping stone for my further entertainment. One day I was putting on makeup on my dead clients, and at the same time I was singing my favorite songs to keep my good spirits up, you know? And then, all of a sudden, I got an amazing idea. Here they are. This is my first audience. You might say it is creepy and weird to perform in front of the dead, but what else was I supposed to do? I had to grow and excel in my acting skills, and I needed an audience for this. Every day I would finish my work in the evening, and I would stay extra hours at my work to rehearse my first artistic performances. Everyone was looking so glamorous and great. My audience was all dressed up in tuxedos and evening dresses, as if they had come for the grand opera premiere. And most importantly, everyone would listen carefully to every word I said. They would never interrupt or criticize. They would never run to the buffet during the performance, and they would always remain silent and respectful and listen with attention. The only thing I missed was the final applause. But for me, the best applause is the audience that stays with you. And the people lying in the morgue clearly had nowhere to hurry, and they would listen again and again to my artistic monologues and performances. Sometimes they would even assist me in my performances. For example, when I played Othello, one of the dead ladies kindly agreed to play Desdemona, and she kindly provided her neck for a suffocating scene of jealousy. Of course, I would not choke her, but if someone else would see me then, I would be fired straight away, let me tell you. Another day, I would play the role of a detective, and I would examine the victim for the evidence. I investigated why he died, but I couldn't come to a final decision. And then I questioned the suspect, but he turned out to be a tough nut to crack, and he didn't say a single word. That's how I spent my evenings at work. Another day, I will perform a melodrama. I sit next to one of the dead, and I pretended to be in grief and cried with drama. I exclaimed with emotion, "Why did he die and leave us? He was so young. It is so heartbreaking." And then I would wipe my tears with my sleeve and go on with my monologue. Sometimes I would even perform a comedy stand-up for my listeners, and I would always come up with some black humor jokes like, "Doc, where are we going?" "What do you mean by where?" "To the morgue, of course." "But I'm not dead yet." "So we haven't arrived yet." Unfortunately, nobody would ever laugh at my jokes. There was always a dead silence. Probably my jokes were not that funny, or my audience was just dead. Once I decided to run a fashion show to my dead clients. They were all supermodels, except they would not walk on the catwalk. So I ran the show and arranged all of them in different postures. At that moment, I thought what a great fashion show it was, and I decided to take a photo. Since then, I would take a photo of every dead person I made a makeup for. So now I have a whole album of different makeup styles. You might think I'm weird, but in fact it was just so disappointing to create such a beauty and then just bury it into the ground, you know? After all, I'm a creative person, and I was doing professional makeup as a high-level art. But all good things must end sooner or later. And once a security guard saw me when I was taking photos of my dead clients, he immediately told my boss about that, and then my boss called me for a serious conversation. I thought everything would be fine, but then I had got another problem. A family of one of my dead clients was very unhappy with the makeup I did for their deceased father. They complained that I put on so much bright makeup that it looked creepy, as if the old man looked like Santa Claus on a Christmas day, rather than an old man of impeccable reputation. So this story got me into a real problem, and I was fired. So that's my story. Did you like it? Share your comments, give your likes, and subscribe to our channel. See you soon.